Don't act like you don't know, Charis roared. How are you pregnant? How can you be pregnant when I know I can't father a child? Celina tried to calm him down, but Charis was furious. Answer me, he demanded. Celina had been married to Charis for 6 years. Charis was a well-known baker, and his cakes were admired all over town. Celina, on the other hand, worked in an office, and even though they didn't have children, they seemed happy together. But deep down, Celina had suffered silently because he wanted a baby more than anything in the world. One bright afternoon at work, Celina was sitting at her desk, focused on a project, when a delivery man entered her office, carrying a big, beautiful cake. Everyone in the office stopped what they were doing and looked at the cake. Its layers covered in fluffy icing and decorated with colorful flowers. Wow, Celina, that's from your husband, right? One of her colleagues asked excitedly. Celina smiled childishly and nodded. She was used to Charis sending her cakes, but this one seemed different, special even. The cake looked so perfect, and she thought Charis was sending it to her as a sweet surprise. She quickly called her colleagues and friends in the office to gather round. Let's celebrate, she said, her heart filled with joy. She couldn't wait to cut into the cake and share it with everyone. As they gathered around, one of her friends noticed a small envelope beside the cake. Look, there is a note. What does it say? Her friend asked. Celina, full of excitement, opened the envelope and began to read aloud. But as her eyes moved over the words, her smile slowly faded away. The note read, I am divorcing you. Next to the note was a pregnancy test result, positive. Her hands shook as she held the paper and her head sank. The room that had been filled with chatter suddenly got silence. Everyone stared at her, their eyes wide with shock. Celina's mind was racing, trying to make sense of what was happening. Divorce? What? She whispered, barely able to speak. The word echoed in her mind over and over. Her chest tightened as her breath quickened. She glanced at the pregnancy test again, confused and humiliated. She remembered all the times people whispered behind her back about how her husband, Charis, was incapable of fathering a child. Charis himself had told her he couldn't have children, and that was one of the biggest pain in their marriage. Suddenly, the cake wasn't a celebration anymore. It was a declaration of her embarrassment. Feeling her face burned with shame, Celina couldn't stand being in the room any longer. Without saying another word, she turned and rushed out of the office, leaving her colleagues in stunned silence. When Celina arrived home, Charis was already there. His face was red with anger, and his feet were clenched as he had been waiting for her to arrive. The moment she stepped inside, he stormed towards her. How could you do this to me, Celina? He shouted, his voice booming through the house. Celina was still shaking from what had just happened at her office. Do what? She asked, her voice trembling. Don't act like you don't know, Charis roared. How are you pregnant? How can you be pregnant when I know I can't father a child? Celina tried to calm him down, but Charis was furious. Answer me, he demanded. I don't understand, Charis. Please explain to me, Celina said, tears now streaming down her face. She didn't know how to make him believe that she had never betrayed him. But Charis wouldn't listen. There is nothing to explain. You have been unfaithful, and now everyone knows. Do you know how embarrassed I feel? How humiliated I am? Celina collapsed on the couch, sobbing. She didn't want to fight. She had always stood by Charis even when everyone told her he couldn't give her the child she so desperately needed. Through her tears, Celina finally spoke up. I have never been unfaithful, Charis. I have only ever loved you. Then how are you pregnant? Celina, how? Charis screamed, pacing back and front. You know I can't have children. Celina took a deep breath, gathering her strength to reveal the truth that had been buried for too long. Charis, you have been lied to. Her husband stopped in his tracks. What are you talking about? He asked, frowning. Your best friend. She was quietly. She made you believe you were incapable of having children. But he lied to you, Charis. You have been taking medications for no reason. Dr. Ella lied to you all along. She froze. Disbelief written all over his face. That's impossible, he muttered. Celina wiped her tears and looked at him with sad eyes. Do you remember my cousin, the doctor who visited us a few months ago? He reviewed your test results and said they were fake. He found out that your friend had been giving you drugs that weren't even necessary. She tricked you, Charis. Charis' face paled. Fake results? He whispered. Yes, Celina replied softly. My cousin gave me injections to reverse the effect of the drugs. He told me that once the drugs wore off, we could try having a baby. Charis couldn't believe what he was hearing. Are you telling me that I can? That I'm not? You are not infertile, Charis, Celina said, her voice full of emotion. You were never infertile. Charis stood there, his words spinning. Your ex-fiancé just wanted to revenge because you never married her. He had lived all these years believing he couldn't be a father. He had convinced himself that his marriage was doomed to be childless. And now, here was his wife telling him that it was all a lie. I got pregnant after we were together that night, Celina continued. It was because of you, Charis. This baby is yours. Charis' legs gave out and he sank onto the floor. His heart ached with the weight of his foolishness. He had humiliated Celina. He had sent that cruel note and the divorce cake to her office, believing she had betrayed him. He had treated her like she was the enemy when all along it was him who had been deceived. I am so sorry, my wife, he whispered, tears filling his eyes. I have been such a fool. I should have trusted you. I should have listened to you. Celina walked over to him and knelt down beside him, her heart still heavy but softening. My husband, we have both suffered, but we can heal from this together. Charis buried his face in his hands, ashamed of what he had done. Can you ever forgive me? He asked, his voice broken. Celina touched his shoulder, her tears mixing with his. I love you, Charis. I never stopped loving you, but we have to entrust each other from now on. Charis nodded, his heart filled with regret. I promise, Celina, I promise I will never doubt you again. As time passed, Charis and Celina worked through their pain and rebuilt their relationship. The baby grew inside Celina's womb, a symbol of love they had almost lost but found again. Charis was overjoyed to realize that he was going to be a father, something he had once believed was impossible. they welcomed a healthy baby boy into the world months later, and their family was finally complete. Charis knew that he had made many mistakes, but he was determined to be better husband and father, making sure that Celina was never have to suffer alone again. The cake that once symbolized their breakup became a distant memory that moved forward, stronger together than ever before. Some moral lessons you will learn from this story. Beware of misunderstandings in your marriage. Beware of jealousy. Charis' action motivated by jealousy and insecurity had severe repercussions on Celina's life. Jealousy can lead to destructive decisions that harm relationships. And honesty is essential in relationships. Learn to take consequences of your actions and ask for mercy whenever you are wrong. Forgiveness and redemption is one cool tool in marriage. Learn to support yourselves as husband and wife, even in times of difficulties and sorrows. Bye! Thanks for watching my movie. Try to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Click the notification bell to get notified when we post more interesting stories by African Tales by Sony. Bye! I love you all.